All right, so this is Will, and we're going to try to wrap this up for the HMI. And what the first thing I was going to do is, and when I import, well, I have my little logo in there, but that'll be the last thing that we put in here. But I was going to, I was looking at, I found this image for a Jeep, and I was going to import this into our project. And what I'm going to do is have it simulate being stuck underneath the door. So the first thing, I'm going to try to crop this out a little bit. And so I'll crop it, and well, so I'm just going to say I want to Control A, Control C, and then I can put it over here, and I'll do Control V, and it puts it in here. Now I am going to, oh well, the first thing I want to do, well, I'm going to resize it a little bit. I'm going to make it, I don't know, compact Jeep or something so it fits in here better. And I have to move that to the back. Now, usually we're in graphics when we do these things, but we'll also have a couple things for format. And I want to send this guy to the back. And now what I have to do is I have to move these other guys out of the way. So I'm going to move him temporarily. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move these guys over here for control. I'm going to have these guys below it. And these guys will show the status of where our door is. So we'll have the control and the status. And also, a while ago I had put these, and maybe what we'll do is we'll put them next to each other, sort of like this. We had intentionally put these misaligned, and one of the things, and it's in part of the format align, you can align these things, and if I select these three items here, they're all selected, but the one in the black is the one that's a reference, so I want to reference everything to that closed door. If I go into my format, I can say align and align left, and that puts everything in a line, and that makes it look a little better. Now, getting back to this, I want to move this guy, and we'll have to do something about that door alarm. I guess temporarily we'll move him a little bit up, and we'll move him a little bit up so this is not in the way for that. But what I want to do is I have this signal for fault inject, and again, this is highlighted, so if I right click on it, I can give it properties. And okay, so the link picture has some incredible name that I don't know what it is, but what I want to do is I want to go up into the graphics, and I want to give it a link for visibility and position. And right now it's going to, what I want to do is I don't want visibility, and before for the door we were making it go vertical. Here we want to go horizontal, and we want to tag it to the fault inject signal. So let's see, fault inject. So when it goes in there, it'll move that. Now, that is a Boolean, so it only goes from 0 to 1. And again, I want to move it to the left, which from the position it's in right now, left is negative. And actually, we're moving this up, we said at the very end, to 440. So I am just going to say, well, 100 probably looks good. I'm going to make it minus 100. So when I hit that fault inject, it should move right underneath the door if everything goes as planned. So let's take a look and see if that works. So if I hit the fault inject, well, moves under the door, but not doing exactly what I want. So let's exit here for a second. And so if I click on my fault inject, and we look at its properties, so it says on while it is toggling. And we only have it on while. I guess I can go in this config, and this will give the overall view of this. So, so on while it does that, enable focus. I don't know if this release has anything to do with it, if it's just releasing. If we go into run again, yep. Oh, okay. So I think what our problem is here. I was just thinking we tied this, and I think we did it for both fault inject and fault reset. If we look at this main driver sheet, we took the fault inject and the fault reset signals. These are 97 and 99. If we look at our click program, let's find one of these, fault inject. We took the C15 bit, and what we really want is we want that to be another bit in parallel with this. We don't want this output. What's happening is we are making it toggle to a 1, but then the program's looking at this C15, and it's only a 1 while we are, have it pressed, and then it's going back to its normal state. So what we really want is we want something underneath this, and this one wants to be a normally open contact. And let's see what we've got open here. What we want is we want a new bit, not C15. So we have C15 as the fault inject bit. What we need to do, and that's an output, what we need this to be is an input. So we need to go down here and make this C25. And then, I know we must have done the same thing for the reset. So let's see if we can find where that fault reset is. Fault reset here. So again, we took this bit, which I think we can use this bit actually, and this will be from the HMI. So let's see. So the fault reset, if we look at this one in the Modbus addresses, that was 97. And if we look in here for the fault reset, that one is 97. So what we can do is we can give the fault inject a new bit, and we can leave the reset as is. But then we can only reset from the HMI. We don't really have a good reset mechanism from the PLC. So we have to go back here. We said that was C25. So really what I need to do is I need to I'm going to move it from there, and I'm going to put it down here. So now it's fault injected there. I'm going to line it up. Okay, so that should be correct. Now, we got rid of our tag name for C15. So let's give that a name of, if we're using fault inject, let's do inject fault. Okay, so we've got the names changed, but I think we're okay for that. Now what we have to do in here is we have to make sure, okay, if I select that and look at its properties, I think we're okay with fault inject. We just have to change where we put that, and put that on C25. I need to get that address from the Modbus. C25 Modbus. Okay, that's 409. So, and this is a little more difficult than we thought. Fault inject is, right now it's 399, so we'll make that 409. and save that. Now we have changed the Click PLC program. So we've got to go in here and we've got to reload that into our system. And let's see what this one looks like. And what we want is we want the Jeep to go underneath the door when we're injecting a fault. And we want to stay there. So what we want to do is we want to look in here and we want to go into the run mode. And hopefully when we do inject fault, it'll move over here. Okay, and it doesn't come back, and that's what we want. Now, when we toggle it, it's going to toggle back. So that is what we want. And again, we're only going to do this when it's down. Now, we put that at minus 100, and let's see how far it moves. So let's just move that to maybe minus 150, and then we'll let it run. Now, we don't really need these simulation timers. We think that works. One of the things that we can do here is, well, we can do some things with our background. I guess because of time, we'll leave these as is, just make sure they work. What I want to do here in here, though, is I want to go in here, and I want to put up graphics, and I want a smart message here. And what my message is going to say is, and I guess actually what I first want to do is I want to go in here, I want to get visibility. And so now I've got visibility, and my visibility tag is going to be when my door is up. So unless that's up, this message isn't going to appear. So I'm okay with that. And remember, every time you give it a different animation, now it has, it's got a smart message and it's got visibility. So they're two different attributes. So now if I go into the message, I'll say when it's 1, this would be the open limit switch. And what I'll do for the text, I don't know, I guess I'll make the text blue, and I'll make the background maybe yellow. And again, when we do this, we have to change the background for the rectangle too. And so we should get the message in blue, and it's only going to appear when it's all the way up. It'll say open limit switch. And so now what we can do for this guy is we can copy him down here, and all we're going to do is change it to door up to door down. And now we have to go into the message and say, and only again when it's 1, it'll be the closed limit switch. Okay, so we got those two guys. We want to change him, and our position, instead of 100, we set 150. And that probably is good. A couple other things. So we think that it's working. We don't need that. I put this fault inject just to kind of determine what's going on here. And, you know, what I like doing is you can go into graphics, and because we like to group things, for my control, I'm going to put a panel on there, go and click it. And I'm just going to give it this background here. And now, again, I'm going to highlight him and send him to the back. And actually, well, actually, I'm going to move him down here. I was going to say I like making these black, but I have black lettering here. I can make this one a black one because the lettering is on the push buttons. So I'll go in there again, put my rounded rectangle in, and I'll make this one black. And I'll go to him and I'll put him in the back. Well, let's see, how come I can't bring him to the back? Format, send to back. Okay, so now we've got our buttons here. And, you know, when you do this, you can say, well, maybe I'd like him a little smaller, which means I'd like this guy a little smaller. And maybe I want to move him a little bit up here. So, you know, that's all we're going to do for that. But one of the things you can do is, after you have these the way you want them, you can just highlight everything, and then you can go into this again, and you can say, I want to group these. So now this is one entity, it's not separate entities. And the thing about that is, if you want to move it, you can move them as a group. You can also resize them as a group. It's really handy. And once you finally have things looking how you want, you should group them to run them around. And so the last thing we're going to do is I'm going to go into my paint again, and I just use this because this is the way that they show it. No, I don't want to say that. And they show this on the video is just to select everything that's in there. And it can be any type of bitmap or JPEG. You can just Control A, Control C, and you can come in here and do Control V. It always comes in to the top corner of what your screen looks like. It's a bit annoying, but that's the way it is. And let's see, put that in the run mode. And we always have to put the little advertisement there. Oh, and somehow this is not showing up as it should. So visibility is door down, but I'm not seeing anything. So let's see what this message looks like. And the message is well, let's run it and see what if the open limit. Oh, so let's see. Door down is the visibility. The smart message. I have to put this re-tag. So this is also door down, and that probably means that this one is also incorrect. So visibility is correct, but now the smart message, because I have to tie the message, it also needs to look at the message. It needs to look at the door up because that tells it whether it's going to have message 0 or message 1. So that's not correct. So now when we go into run mode, and I think I'll just make that a little bit bigger because you got to do the advertisement. It's in the contract. Anyway, let's put this in run mode and see what we got. Now again, we're only going to inject the fault when the door is coming down. Okay, so it says we're at close limit, we're off, and no motor's on. So what we want to do is we want to hit our start push button. Now we're ready to go, but we have to hit open for it to go up. And it's going up. And also we can hit the reset here, and I guess what we'll do is let it count up to 5 and let it go back. So here, you know, it's just barely showing at the top, and that's kind of what we want. We want to show that, yeah, it's the door is all the way up. It's not, you know, disappearing all the way up as it was before. Open limit switch, that shows on. The motor's off. So now if we close it, it'll start coming down. The motor down motor is on, and it'll stay on until we get that. We've got our LED indicators over here. What we'll do here is we'll make sure that this counter cycle is working. Again, we have this thing for our reset, but it's not going to reset unless we hold this down for 5 seconds. So if I hold this for 5 seconds, the counter should go to 0. And there we go. So now what we're going to do as our last thing is we're going to go up. Oh, and then, well, let's see. So I'm going to press close. And that stops, and it puts the door ajar. And that's okay. Now for here, I'm going to keep going up. So we're going to go up and keep resuming that. Now I'm going to inject the fault. And now, again, the system should... Okay, so our Jeep's in the way. So we're going to pretend this is a real situation here. And we tried closing it, and again, I figured that 50 was somewhere around here. That might be right, might be wrong. We'll have to take a look. But we're going down, we're going down. It's going to stop when it gets to 50. And, okay, so 50 is not good, but what should happen is in 15 seconds, the door alarm comes on. Now, and you can see the stack light over here in the webcam. So what I'm going to do is reset it, and then it goes all the way down. And then it goes to the close limit, and we did the count. So I guess the only thing we should really, final thing is, you know, we had that in our program. We stopped it when it got to 50. So we really should probably change that to about, I don't know, 65. That's just a guess. We'll just give it a try and see what happens. So we'll write the project into the PLC. So now it'll stop at a higher point. And, you know, again, I really shouldn't even be doing this part of it, but, you know, what we want to do is we want to just simulate these things, and especially when you get into this animation, you know, you can really spend a whole lot of time doing the animation, just getting it just perfect. And you know, it is the thing that you spend a lot of time on. But you know, here's our little project, and again, we just started out with the simple thing that we showed, that thing on a sealant circuit. And you know, you can animate it, and you can put in all these different lights. You can put in these messages. You know, you can make it look however you want. You know, if you want to put something in there, it's great. So now I'm just going to close it and see if we got that closer to where we want. And that's really all I want to see, as well as the door alarm come on. And we're still a little off, but I can live with that. And, you know, the thing about it is you can pretty much, when you start using the counters and timers, and there's our door alarm. When you start using these counters and timers, you can pretty much show whatever you want. You know, this Wonderware gives you enough flexibility to do it. And, you know, when you're in your program itself, and let's just take one final look at this. So this is just a simple open a door, close a door. It's, you know, if we go back to our original project, this is what we had at the beginning. We just have a simple open limit, close limit, and up and down, and then we've got motors. And, you know, what we're doing is we're using, you know, simple circuits. We've got sealant circuits. We're using, you know, the HMI in parallel or in series, whichever the case may be, to have control from both the control platform over here and from the Wonderware. So we've got two sets. You know, we are using some edge triggers here. We've got sealant circuits all over the place. And when you start out writing programs for ladder logic, I mean, that is the nuts and bolts of your ladder logic, is use these sealant circuits. And then, you know, the building blocks are your timers and your counters. You can get them to do whatever you want and help you out. We have comparators in here. Comparators, if you're using counters, you might as well be using comparators because they're really helpful. You know, we've got more timers to do the blinky light thing, and you know, you just are deriving things from you know, a simple, you know, from our little simple picture. We probably, this was a lot overkill, I know it is, but you know, you can derive what you want, and this is the best way to learn about PLCs. Practice, practice, practice. And you know, the HMI, besides it giving you good visualization, you know, you just say, well, yeah, this looks really nice with the visualization, but I mean, this is almost every PLC program has an HMI. So you should be trying to, you know, come up with this visualization here. And, you know, as I always say, you can do better than I do, and you should do better than I do. But that's going to wrap it up for the final project. So give it a try and enjoy. Thanks.